Well, he's hard to forget. They loved him. I remember a couple places where they came in. They'd come in all the time just to see him, and they'd been owners for years, and they'd still come in to say hi to Frank. And they always want to know if I was at an office and he wasn't, where's that Frank at?
I learned so much from that man in just a few short years that I knew him. He taught me a lot of life lessons, and one of the main things he taught me was just not take everything too serious and just have fun. And he's made my life a lot better because of that.
Dad was actually the clown. When somebody needed to hire a clown for the birthday parties and stuff, Dad was the clown. Tim Penn loved Dad. He always gave all the kids nicknames, all my friends nicknames, Tim Penn, blah blah. And yeah, he's just his dad always.
He was the master of ceremonies. He was the clown. He was also, it's hard to describe, of course, but being the life of the party, but then also being the Jewish mother. No, you can't do that. Nobody can do both. You can't make sure everybody's got a ride home and be the craziest one that you remember from the night before at the same place. But he was. I mean, he just had that little extra, whatever you call it, and he tied everything together. And there's a lot of coincidences out there that just kind of clicked in with, call it luck or call it whatever you want. But if your eyes are open, you see it, and he had that.
He did end up doing things like he would do auctions for our small community, for the hospital. He would be the auctioneer, and they would, even after we moved here, they would invite him, ask him to do it, and he would go do it.
Well, he was a clown, literally. I mean, I remember when the boys were, I don't even know if it might have been before the boys were growing up, that he did a little clown work, literally, for birthday parties and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, surely. But most of the jokes were the taco feed that stick out most. And every Monday for years, we heard the same thing, and that was the shark joke. And everybody always laughed. They thought it was funny. We knew it was coming.
I can't. We were just talking. I never had to memorize any of the jokes. I've never been a jokes guy. Dad always had the platform, and how can you follow that? And so I've always been the one-liner kind of following Dad's. They weren't jokes. They were just kind of Larry David-isms. So Dad had the Frank Toohey-isms. I got the Larry David. And no, I don't know any of Dad's jokes.
His middle name, his mom should have gave him Corny as his middle name. He is just the one funny guy. Well, I don't know. At the taco feed, we used to serve close to 600-700 tacos every Monday, and that's how we did our business. We got our tours at this taco feed, and we planted him as the first guy at the bar there, and the people would stop by and they would always say, well, what type of fish are you cooking? And he would say, shark, but it just got a little bite to it. And the people would just love that. You know what I'm saying? Flour or corn tortilla. I mean, this guy was like one of those funny guys, you know what I'm saying? There's not many people just plain out funny like him. Well, the thumb trick was the old disappearing cigarette trick, yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. Oh, the thumb as the disappearing thumb? Oh, yeah. Well, he's been with me through the life of all three of my children, and all three of my kids have had to figure out a long time where that thumb went, or where that cigarette disappeared to, until they got old enough to figure it out. But I mean, he had them going for many, many years on that deal.
Well, one was, the tree was so fresh I had to slap it. He do that, and then he had this other little trick where you want to see the other side of the tree, and he'd turn himself around and not the tree. That was Frank. He knew you were going to hear a corny joke.
It was him, and he could tell the same joke a million times, and it was funny every time. He always got us laughing.
Well, when you looked at him, he'd come and he'd give you that look, and right away you look and you say, okay, I know he's going to say something. You don't know what he's going to say, but you know he's going to say something. And even if he didn't say something, he kind of gave that look and it'd make you smile.
Oh my goodness, it's corny jokes. The only one that I remember a good one when I first went into his office at Seaside, and he's like, Paula, and I was looking at his office. He was always proud to show everything in his office, the one with Rick Ricania and this and that and Cabo, and he had pictures of his family there, and he's like, oh, let me show you pictures of my pride and joy, and I go, well, you did. There's your wife and there's your sons. He goes, no, it's different. And I'm like, ooh, Frank, you being bad, you know. And he's like, no, Paula, no, I want to show you my pride and joy. I'm like, oh, okay. So I thought it was a car or something. And he pulls out this little pitcher, and it has a can of, it says pride on it, and then the dish soap that said joy. And I just looked at him. I'm just like, Frank, I swear, I'm just going to choke you. But he was always funny like that, you know. Or the one day he said, Shirley, you jest, or Shirley, you're not leaving. Oh wait, your name's not Shirley. And I'm just like, Frank, you know. But it was so stupid. It was funny, you know. You had to laugh. I mean, you couldn't stop but laugh. So yeah, his corny jokes were a riot.
Well, because we went to the hardware store quite a bit, oftentimes while we're at the hardware store, and I don't know why, because this is a little funny to say, but you know, once you hear certain jokes enough times, you kind of, oh, okay. But Frank thought they were so funny every time he told them, you couldn't help but laugh every time again. I mean, you try not to, and you couldn't stop. So, you know, we'd sit at a table, and I tell you, this was at least half the time. The waitress would come back up, and she'd come back up, and she'd say, well, have you decided yet? And every time, well, at least every other time, Frank would say, yes, we've decided to stay. I don't know why it seems so funny to me, but yeah, we have decided we're going to stay, he says. Oh, that one always got me.
All the time. With all his corny jokes and stuff, just trying to lighten up the mood and just to have everybody have a good time.
Frank did our wedding service for both Bo and I, and for us, everyone jokes about my wife and I. Her name is Betsy, and mine's Brett, and Frank would call us Bretsy, and when he's starting in and introducing us, he's saying Bretsy, and he's trying to say Brett and Betsy, but he just can't, and it's like 3 or 4 times coming out, and he's trying.
He was a little
but
nervous.
you know, things like that, and he pulled through it, and gosh, it made the situation great. Him just being himself, you know, it was really nice.